OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to this week's episode of Friday Night Smackdown Review. You are here with Just G from the Outcasted OC, and I am here to give you the lowdown on everything that's happened on Smackdown this week. So let's jump straight into it. So we had an action-packed Smackdown this week full of segments and Money in the Bank qualifying matches. So yeah, let's jump on into it. We start with a car pulling up backstage, and out of that car jumps the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tama Loa. They walk over to Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman asks Solo where Jacob Fatu is this evening, and he just smiles and walks off. The Bloodline make their way out towards the ring, and as they are making their way out of down the ramp, we see clips on the screens behind of another car pulling up, and Cody, Randy and KO very quickly jumping out of those cars straight through Gorilla to the ramp where the Bloodline are, and they don't wait. They do not wait. They are in. Boom, boom. We've got Cody going on Solo. We've got Randy going on Tama Tonga. We have got Kevin Owens going on Tama Loa. They are all action-packed. Kevin Owens takes Tama Loa somewhere in the crowd and throws him on a table, climbs up the ramp of the stairs and literally jumps off the ramp and flattens him on the table. We've got Solo and Randy, Solo and Cody and Randy and Tama Tonga all making their way fighting down to the ring. Randy's going for Tama Tonga outside the ring. You've got Cody in ring going for Solo. Boom, boom, boom. As this is happening, we see Nick Aldis, the officials, security, all making their way down. The Bloodline do manage to get out and walk away, but we've got Cody and Randy in ring, and then Kevin Owens very shortly joins them after. Cody's saying he wants to settle this right here, right now. He don't want to wait for their 6-man tag match at Money in the Bank. He wants to settle this right here tonight. And Nick Aldis is like, no, I've got a show to run. I promised them the main event to do their acknowledging the Bloodline thing, so I've got a show to run. This can't happen right here, right now. And Cody's not happy about that. He is definitely not happy about that. An official jumps in the ring, is trying to break him up, and he gets RKO'd by Randy out of nowhere. So at that point, the rest of the security and officials are starting jumping in the ring. We see stunners, we see RKOs, we see crossroads. This is going to cost them probably a hefty fine for sure. So then they all grab mics, and KO, at this point Nick Aldis has walked off. All the officials and security are out of it on the floor. Nick Aldis has walked off. They all grab mics. Kevin Owens says, if you thought we would wait till Money in the Bank, then you are as stupid as you look. Randy is like, you guys, the Bloodline, left me out and injured for 18 months. We are here to give it to them. We're going to end them. And then Cody's like, all the Bloodline see in this ring is 3 victims. I see friends, you know. He goes on a little bit of a speech about how Kevin Owens is great and Randy Orton is a 14-time world champion. And he's like, I should be defending my title against a worthy opponent tonight, but instead I'm here dealing with the Bloodline after I thought I'd finished with the Bloodline at WrestleMania. And it's like that. Then we see Nick Aldis reappear with a better enforcement of the police, NYPD. Didn't see that one coming. And Cody is like, I don't see a tribal chief. I don't see a head of the table. All I see is a seat filler. And that's it. They're escorted out. Gone. We hit backstage then where we see Kayla Braxton with the microphone running to Nick Aldis like, can you comment on the occurrences that are happening tonight? Can you comment on what just happened? And he's like, no, not now. No, it's not a great time. He is escorting Cody, Randy and KO into a car. He taps the car drives off, they're gone. They have been escorted off the premises for the rest of the evening. That was wild. That is how you build a story to an event, like to a pay-per-view match. So if you don't know, we have the Bloodline versus Kevin, Cody and Randy at Money in the Bank next Saturday, which is going to be really interesting. I'm really excited to see where that goes. So we then move on to our first match for this evening, which is a women's Money in the Bank qualifying match between Tiffany Stratton, Candice LeRae and Jade Cargill. It is a triple threat, yes, we are. I'm loving these triple threat qualifying matches because it's giving more people a chance to get looked in on, more people a chance to fight, and I love this. So we start with Candice and Tiffany are teaming up to take out Jade Cargill. They are like, yeah, let's go in, let's get her. So there is a few shots from both of them to Jade Cargill, who eventually manages to counter into a double clothesline to them both. And then we see Nia Jax appear coming down the ramp. As we know, she's had a bit of a thing with Tiffany Stratton. They're like aligning. I'm not sure what's going on there. But as she does from behind, we also see Bianca Belair appear. Obviously, she's here to support Jade Cargill. So then we have both of them like ringside walking around. Candice hits a DDT to Tiffany, who goes for a cover, and then Jade Cargill unfortunately breaks that cover. Candice cornered. Okay, so Candice is cornered in one corner and Jade Cargill is cornered in the other corner. We see Tiffany go for a double flip, like full headstand flip, and bounce into Jade Cargill, and then she goes back the other way with a double flip and bounces into Candice, but Candice actually rolls out of the way, and Tiffany hits herself in the corner. Okay, so as Tiffany turns back around after being slammed into the turnbuckle, she kind of pushes Candice into Jade Cargill, who hits a spinebuster. Tiffany then kicks Jade Cargill. She goes to cover, but Jade Cargill kicks out. Tiffany throws Jade over the rope to the outside. Nia goes towards like Jade Cargill as if she's going to do something, and very, very quickly Bianca appears behind Nia and is like, no, you can't do that. That's not happening. The ref actually jumps out the ring and tries to break up Nia and Bianca, and I'm like, you're taking your eyes off the entire match at this point. To which we then see Indy Hartwell appear from nowhere behind Jade Cargill. She throws Jade Cargill head face first into the side of the ring, like where the turnbuckle is. She's out, she's gone, she is done. At this point, we see like Tiffany and Candice know that they've got a chance to do what they need to do. At this point then, Bianca is chasing Indy Hartwell out. She's gone. She chases her out of the arena. Candice on the inside of the ring goes for an inside cradle. Tiffany kicks out. Candice does a moonsault off the side of the ropes to Tiffany. Tiffany, however, rolls out the way. She jumps up on the ring. She hits her prettiest moonsault ever. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany Stratton is going to Money in the Bank. It is Tiffy time. I am very, very, very excited for Tiffany Stratton to be going to Money in the Bank. I think it's a great opportunity for her. I really would love to see her win. Her or Chelsea Green are probably my picks to win at the moment as it stands, but I am very excited for Tiffy time, and I think she would deserve it if she won. But yeah, so that was that match. Okay, so we move on to our next match for this evening, which is another Money in the Bank qualifying match, this time a men's one between Santos Escobar, LA Knight and Logan Paul, our United States Championship holder. So they all make their way down to the ring. Logan Paul introduces Tyrese, I can't remember his last name, I believe he's a basketball player, and he's come down ringside to support Logan Paul because apparently Logan Paul knows people. So yeah, that was interesting. I know for a fact that there's gonna, like, as soon as you see him bring someone down to the ring, there's gonna be some kind of interference from them somewhere at some point maybe. So yeah, so LA Knight is straight onto Logan. He is not waiting, punches Logan. Santos takes down LA Knight and they both go in on LA Knight. Logan and Santos stomps and kicks to LA Knight, not giving LA Knight any room to move or counter this. After that, Logan throws Santos Escobar out of the ring because he obviously wants to go in on LA Knight himself. They have such a thing going on right now. Logan hits a slam to LA Knight and he covers LA Knight, but LA Knight kicks out. Logan then throws LA Knight into the ropes and he bounces back and kind of ducks under Logan's attempt to clothesline, but he bounces off the other side and goes back the other way through the ring straight into Santos Escobar, who was stood up outside the ring, kicks straight into him. as he does this, back up in the ring, then we have LA Knight with Santos Escobar over his shoulders, like legs this side, head this side. He's like backed up into the corner and is attempting to climb the ropes with Santos on his shoulders. Santos manages to counter. He grabs his balance on top of the ring and he's like punching LA Knight over the head. Then he out of nowhere hits a Hurricane Rana from top rope to LA Knight. He goes for a cover on LA Knight, but Logan manages to jump in and break that cover. Logan throws Santos into a splash over his shoulders, but didn't realise that LA Knight was lay behind him, so it kind of throws Santos onto a cover of LA Knight. Logan very, very quickly throws him off and goes for the cover himself, but LA Knight kicks out. He then turns around and goes for a cover on Santos Escobar, but again, Santos Escobar kicks out. I think he left it too long and Santos was ready to go and he was ready to get up again. So we have LA Knight and Logan Paul facing off at this point. Punches after punches to each other. Punch, punch, punch. LA Knight goes in for a spine buster leg sweep and then goes for a DDT to Santos Escobar. They go for cover, but again, it is broken in some way or another. We have a lot of back and forth then between all three of them for a little bit of the match. Back and forth, back and forth. Santos hits a phantom driver to LA Knight and goes for cover, but Logan Paul again breaks that cover. There's a lot of cover attempts and breaks from the other person, the third person in the match during this match. Logan and Santos are in the corner now. They are going in on each other. Boom, boom, boom. Punches to each other as they are both climbing the ropes. So at this point now, we've got Logan Paul stuck in the corner. Santos up on top ropes punching to Logan Paul. And then we see LA Knight. He runs into the corner, jumps straight onto the top rope. Like literally from the ground to the top rope behind Santos Escobar. As he does that, he grabs Santos Escobar, hits a belly-to-back suplex off the top rope, which was crazy. And then Logan Paul goes up to the top rope and does a swanton bomb onto LA Knight because they're both out on the floor after that belly-to-back suplex. He goes for a cover, but LA Knight kicks. At this point, Logan Paul is sat at the ringside and he's like, what can I do now? He calls over Tyrese and he's like whispering into his ear, that basketball player. And then he goes over to the side of the ring and another guy stood there and he hands brass knuckles. Why would we not be surprised that someone is about with brass knuckles for Logan Paul? I don't get it. Anyway, as he walks over with these brass knuckles to give to Logan Paul, we then have Jalen. I'm not sure who this guy is either. I didn't quite catch it, but he jumps in. Apparently there's some beef between Tyrese and Jalen or something. It's not wrestling related. I don't get it. I don't watch basketball. And he's like trying to stop him from giving, like they're having a stare out and so that they can't give the knuckles to Logan. And then something else happened and it was all very quick. Logan goes for a roll up on LA Knight. LA Knight reverses that roll up. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight is going to the Money in the Bank qualifying match. I am so excited for this because I feel like if LA Knight is going to win, then he's going to go for the United States Championship off Logan Paul. So that's really cool. I'm really excited for LA Knight. He will be a great asset to that match, considering the talent we already have in that match with Jey Uso and Carmelo Hayes. Anyway, there was a little bit of a standoff then after the match. We had LA Knight in ring, Logan Paul in ring, and then the Tyrese guy jumped in ring beside Logan Paul with the brass knuckles. They look like they're about to go in on LA Knight. And then Jalen, the other guy, jumps in ring with a steel chair to support LA Knight. And they kind of have a little bit of a stare off and then nothing else really happened. So yeah. Cool. So then we moved on to our next match for the evening, which was our final match for the evening. It is another women's qualifying match for Money in the Bank, a triple threat between Blair Davenport, Naomi and Indy Hartwell. another great women's match that I really enjoyed. It was great that we had several women's matches tonight. It really makes it happy when the women get the spotlight. Okay, so we start this match with Naomi hitting a double drop kick off Blair and Indy. Blair and Indy then both throw Naomi into the ropes, but and attempt a double clothesline, but as they go for the double clothesline, Naomi slides underneath them and completely misses it. Blair attempts to then roll up Indy Hartwell out of nowhere because she wasn't watching what was going on, but Indy manages to kick out. Outside of the ring then, we've got Indy Hartwell's got Naomi on the edge of the ropes trying to do like a thing, but Blair kind of jumps on her, and then Indy's like, hey, that was mine, I had that, what are you doing? Blair Davenport grabs Indy Hartwell, throws her in and over the steel chair, the steel stairs, not chairs, stairs. As she does that, Indy rolls over the other side of the stairs. Blair jumps up on the stairs, hits a double stomp to the back of Indy's spine. Mate, that looks so painful. And then we are back up in the ring. We are doing a few bits back and forth. Naomi jumps up onto the ropes. She goes for a double crossbody to them both. They are both out, Indy and Blair. Naomi then jumps off the rings, jumps off the ropes on top of them and goes for a double cover, but they manage to kick out. We then have a bit of back and forth again. Indy slams Naomi and then slams Blair on top of her, goes for a cover, but they manage to kick out, so there is no win for Indy there, but that would have been cool if she had have won that way. We then go for a few more things, back and forth. The girls really are putting on a good match, but there is a lot going on between them that you can't quite keep up. Naomi goes for a moonsault off the rope. Blair rolls into it and hits Indy. After that, they go for a cover and Blair Davenport kicks out. She goes for a Falcon Arrow to Naomi, but Naomi manages to kick out again. There's a lot with these triple threat matches. There's a lot of cover kick, or cover break. But yeah. So anyway, Blair has rolled out of the ring at this point. Indy goes out following her. She picks her up. She throws her back into the steel stairs. Oh my god, I can't say stairs today. Like Blair did to her earlier. She grabs Naomi. She throws her into the barricade on the ramp. And then she's like, right, I need to pick someone. I need to get them in the ring. I need to get this finished. As she does that, she picks Naomi up and she throws her back into the ring. Then out of nowhere, down the ramp comes running Jade Cargill. As we know, Indy took Jade's opportunity earlier in the night at the other match by throwing her into the side of the ring so that she couldn't get up and move. So Jade Cargill repays the favour. She grabs Indy, she slams her into the side of the ring. Indy's out for the count. She picks Indy up, she rolls her into the ring for Naomi. Naomi does some kind of roll back into Indy Hartwell, so she is now shoulders down in cover. 1, 2, 3. Can you feel the glow? Naomi is going to Money in the Bank. I'm excited for Naomi. I genuinely thought Indy Hartwell was going to win the match, and I was really excited for Indy Hartwell to win that match. But unfortunately, unfortunately for Indy, she didn't get there. But we have Naomi. She is going to be in the Money in the Bank qualifying match, and I feel like again, with the girls, the ladies and women, the girls that are already in there, she will be a great asset to that match, and it will be phenomenal. Okay, and finally we move on to the main event for this evening, which was the Bloodline Acknowledgement Ceremony. A lot to unpack and a lot to unravel here, so let's go for it. So the Bloodline and Paul Heyman make their way down to the ring. Heyman has a mic in hand and he goes to start talking. He does that, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. As he then starts to say something else, Solo puts out his hand to take the mic off Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman's just like, really? So then before Solo is like, before we get into that, I would like to introduce Jacob Fatu, my enforcer, down and into the Bloodline. And you can see the disgust on Paul Heyman's face after Solo had told him that he would not be coming because he's a dangerous man. oh my god, the crowd went wild. The Samoan, what do they call him? The Samoan werewolf or something like that. He makes his way down to the ring and he is there. And yeah, it's wild. Absolutely wild. So then Solo is like, he's like MSG, who's there in Madison Square Garden. So he's like, MSG, acknowledge me. And he puts the one up. They all put the one up. You should see, Paul Heyman literally is like lay on the ring and then he's like, you did not just say that. Oh my god. And then he goes through the members of the bloodline that are there with him and he gets them to acknowledge him one by one. So he's like, right hand man, Tama Tonga, do you acknowledge me? And he's like, I acknowledge you. And then he's like, I think he says MFS to Tamaloa, which I'm really intrigued to know what that means, because obviously we have MFT for Tama Tonga, and then I'm sure he says MFS for Tamaloa. He's like, do you acknowledge me? And he's like, I acknowledge you. And then he's like, my enforcer, Jacob Fatu, do you acknowledge me? And he's like, I acknowledge you. And then he walks over to Paul Heyman and he's like, to Paul, he's like, this is your chance to go. And Paul Heyman starts to walk away, but he's like, before you go, puts his hand on him, stops him. And then one of the Tammers have got a bag and he pulls out Roman's red bead necklace, you know, the tribal chief one. And he's like, he asks Paul Heyman to acknowledge Solo as his tribal chief, hands him the necklace and says, acknowledge your tribal chief. And oh my god, the Paul Heyman looks like he is about to cry. He's like, where did you get these? Why have you got these? Why are you calling yourself the tribal chief? So Paul Heyman then grabs the mic. You can physically see Paul Heyman like shaking. He is so scared of Solo. He says, I acknowledge. And then you can see him like messing with the necklace and then goes, that's you are not my tribal chief. And it's, I'm like, what? Ah! But before like I could have any reaction to it, Solo has already hit a Samoan spike to Paul Heyman. He's then telling Jacob Fatu to deal with it, get on it and do it. This all happens so quick. And then Jacob Fatu jumps up on top of the ropes. He hits a frog splash to Paul Heyman. And I'm just like, no! I'm literally about to cry for Paul Heyman right now because I could not believe that they were doing this. And then they like roll out and they're pulling Paul Heyman along the bottom of the rings and they grab him. They put him up on Jacob Fatu's shoulders, like face first. So you've got Paul Heyman shoulders that way on Jacob Fatu, and they slam him down into the announce table, and oh, it just looks so painful and I feel so sorry for him. And yeah, I feel so sorry for Paul Heyman. And then they turn around. Jacob Fatu has got the red necklace bead thing in hand. He puts it over Solo. The Bloodline are all stood there with their wands up, and that is how SmackDown ended this week. And I just want to cry for Paul. I was literally sat there going, someone save Paul, please somebody come and save Paul. Oh, and there were so many people that could have come and saved Paul, but I don't know. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm really, really, really sad that they did that to Paul Heyman, but it's all story and it's all going to build on the Bloodline because there's so many things they could do now. Like Solo could like keep Paul Heyman there and just keep ridiculing him every week, or he could go and Paul Heyman could build a team to go against Solo, i.e. Jimmy, Jay, Braun. There is plenty of people he could like make a team with to go against Solo and take him down or put him back in his place until Roman appears again. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts on that whole segment. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the Bloodline segment this evening, because I'd love to know what people think will happen going forward. But yeah, that was SmackDown this week. There's only one other thing that I'd like to mention. Of course, we have the announcement of Kayla Braxton. She is leaving WWE. This was her final SmackDown. We won't be seeing her again. She's going on to do other things. I'm not entirely sure what, but I know that she is leaving and this was her last episode of SmackDown. So yeah, all the best of luck to her in the future. But that was everything that happened on Smackdown this week. So if you enjoyed, please hit that thumbs up button. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought of Smackdown or what you think is going to happen going forward. Let us know who you think is going to win the Money in the Bank matches, because that would be interesting too. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for everything else coming in the upcoming week. We will have a Raw review from Courtney on Tuesday, an NXT review from Reese on Wednesday, and then our podcast episode on Thursday this week will be Money in the Bank predictions with a very, very special guest. If you'd like to know who that guest is, make sure you follow us over on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok, because that is where we will announce it first. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys!